Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to be ranking the Exhaustion perks in Dead by Daylight. This will be taking both old and new players into account, so varying skill levels, and that will be quite important to how I actually rank them. Uh, One quick note, the perk Adrenaline is being included just due to it being very different and serving a different purpose from the others. So now that we've gotten over that, I'm going to start the list. First, I'd say we have Overcome, which it just doesn't work too well as it only extends your speed boost when being hit by 2 seconds. But many killers, such as the Hillbilly, Ghostface, and any other with insta downs, just completely bypass this, making it fully useless for you to use. Uh, there's a similar issue with the perk Background Player, where it's when the killer picks up a survivor, you get 150% speed boost. With that boost, yes, it's very useful if you're in Survive with friends or planning on flashlight saving. However, if you're on the other side of a map doing a generator, it's completely useless and just gives you exhausted status for no reason. So if you want to use Background Player, use it in a Survive with friends and coordinate with your team. But there is better options, I'd say. Moving on, we have Balanced Landing. This provides 150% move speed when you fall from a large height. It can be very easily made useless by the map that you're on. So if you're on a very flat map without high buildings or anywhere to drop off of, you don't really have much luck when it comes to activating it. However, on a map such as Area of Crows, it's great and works very effectively as there's plenty of areas where you can drop down and activate your speed boost. And it also provides a few small buffs the entire time you're using it, such as less stagger when you hit the ground. So Balance Landing is actually quite a good perk, I would say. Moving on, I've put Head on next. This is mainly because you also need to be in a survival with friends, and the solo viability of it isn't great, due to the fact that you have to be in a locker for 3 seconds before you jump out and stun the killer. If this was reduced to 2 seconds, it could be far better, I'd say, as you could use something like Quick and Quiet, jump into a locker, then jump out and stun the killer before they grab you out of it. However, it's a good perk for saving your team in a survival with friends. Say the killer's trying to go to the basement, you can rescue the survivor that is being carried. So I wouldn't say that it's the greatest, but it's still a very good perk. This is probably quite decisive in the divisive in the community, but I have Smash Hit next. While it means that once you stun the killer, you move at 150% move speed for 4 seconds. The reason I put it here is actually how well it pairs with other perks, such as Parental Guidance, which covers your scratch marks, grunts of pain, and blood for 7 seconds after stunning the killer. This lets you very consistently just end chase, so for newer players it can be very useful. However, Parental Guidance is, of course, on Yoichi, who is a licensed survivor. So that is a very big downside, along with the locations of the pallets on some maps and the limited amount. But that can be alleviated slightly by the perk Enemies Necessary from Yui, which lets you pick a pallet back up after it's been dropped. But I'd say you have to build around Smash Hit. Without a proper build, it isn't good, but with the correct build and a focus on it, it can be great for newer players. Moving on, we have Dead Hard, which is previously a top tier perk and what I thought was the best one. However, with the recent nerfs to it in 6.7, I would say that it isn't the greatest perk anymore due to you have to have been hooked previously to activate it. That is a very big downside because for the entirety of your first life, pretty much, it doesn't have any effect on you, unlike the other ones. However, it in the second life and onwards, it is great. It gives you an on-hit burst if you time it correctly, which lets you get a lot of distance from the killer. But I'd say that it's falling more into an anti-tunnel perk territory from the recent changes. But if you like Dead Hard, it's still very viable and should be used by some players. Now, for the last two perks in this list, I'd say that could be in either spot depending on your preference and playstyle. But the way I've done it is Sprint Burst is the second best. Upon beginning sprinting, move at 150% speed for 3 seconds. This is very, very powerful if you know how to properly manage it, but it's very difficult for new players as well, because you have to 99 it, or as many newer players do, walk everywhere and not activate it. Uh, However, I've seen what some great survivors can do with it. I personally don't use a perk too often, but I can say that it is great and potentially better than our top spot, which is Life, depending on the survivor. And as I said, Life is after fast vaulting a window, you move at 150% speed for 3 seconds. It has very, very good synergy with other perks to do with vaulting windows, such as Quick and Quiet, although you don't have to use that. I personally don't use it. However, I don't use Quick and Quiet. Uh, it allows you to reliably make distance on almost any map due to the amount of places that you can vault. And you don't have to manage your exhaustion meter like the perk Sprint Burst. And I would say it's overall the easiest one for a new player to use, as it is very, very simple, and it's personally what I used as a beginner player. But now that we've got the list, I'll just summarise. At the bottom is Overcome. It then goes into Background Player, Balanced Landing, Head On, Smash Hit, Dead Hard, Sprint Burst, and Life. I hope you enjoyed this list and got something out of it. But I'd just like to say if you could like or subscribe if you enjoyed this, it's very useful considering that I'm a very small content creator for this game, just starting out. And if you want, maybe check out my Twitter. I do post a few builds occasionally on there and tweet when I make a new video. So if you enjoyed, please do that. But goodbye.